Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Here we are. This is our reaction and review for Poker Face Season 2,
Yeah.
Episode 12, the big finale, an episode that actually did something that surprised me. It managed to hoodwink me on two separate occasions. And I'm not sitting here being like, I'm the smartest guy in the room or whatever. It's just I'm cynical. I've watched a lot of these things. It takes a lot to get me twice in the course of a single episode.
There was some stuff that they got me on. There was some stuff that they didn't get me on. The biggest thing that they got me on a couple times is no Steve Buscemi, not in the credits, not on the radio. Even that very last scene of Charlie down the road trying to hitch a ride. I see the truck coming up. I'm like, here he is.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi, he's pulling up. Not Steve Buscemi. Where is Steve Buscemi? How can you guys tease me all season long that you guys have Steve and you're not going to show him to me?
Okay, at tinfoil hat time, we're doing it early. Were you busy filming Wednesday? I don't know the filming schedule. Did you have some other commitment? It's so bizarre to me. This idea that you have this icon voicing Good Buddy for most of the season, then just completely disappears. And I don't necessarily think that they completely rebooted the story or whatever, where it was like, oh, Steve's not available anymore. But I just kind of am like, did you have a cameo in mind at least that just didn't work out for whatever reason?
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like, this show is all about the guest stars. It's like such a huge part of the show. You're going to have Steve Buscemi, who is such an icon. I mean, he really is. And all you're going to have is his voice. You don't have even an episode with him. It's kind of like also just the Good Buddy character that's kind of like, he's been around, he's been talking with her, he's giving her his apartment for a little while, and then nothing. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me why we went on this road with him to get nowhere.
Okay, I'm gonna put another tinfoil hat on. It's a lot early, but I think, is it possible this was all done intentionally for the hoodwink? The first major hoodwink that I had in this finale was I was so convinced that Steve Buscemi was the big bad. I was so down that hole where I was just like, okay, that's why he's been communicating with her, because he's been spying on her. He's making sure he knows what she's up to.
He's the iguana, or he's behind the iguana. I absolutely thought that at some point we're going to see Justin Theroux rip his mask off and it's going to be Steve.
Yeah, was this all a distraction from the Alex twist? Because I never thought about Alex for a split second because I was too obsessed thinking about Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, I was too. And when this episode started, I was watching the credits very intently because I was like, if it's Steve is going to be in these credits at the beginning or they're going to hide it for the end for the big reveal. Nothing, not a whisper of him in the credits. And I was like, that's weird.
And as I will get to even more later, I wasn't paying any attention to the finer particulars like credits or how long the episode was going or anything. I was just along for the ride, and I still kept being like, even throughout, where is he? Is he coming? Is he coming? No, he's not coming. No, Alex is suddenly the big bad after all of this. We'll talk a little bit more about that, if they really stuck the landing there, where we could be going from here. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I know Poker Face is winding down here, but we have a lot of coverage coming this summer, including Dexter Resurrection, which we are very excited to get into 3 times a week. Smoke on Apple TV Plus, a really, really good show. And then also Alien Earth, which is coming in August after what feels like an enormously long wait.
Absolutely. And by hitting that subscribe button, you really help us here at the channel. Over on our Patreon, we are covering Countdown right now with Jensen Ackles. It's a really fun show. It's the only place that you can get those weekly reviews. So I'll leave a link for you below in the description if you want to check that out.
Thank you guys for your support. We very, very much appreciate that.
Okay. The Alex reveal could have been amazing for me, but they made it really obvious at the very beginning of this episode for me. And the reason why is we had Luca on the phone with Charlie. Charlie's bringing Alex to Beatrix. I'm like, okay, you know, I get what's going on. Luca's like, here's all that we know. It's the iguana. They could be anybody, whatever. She hangs up the phone and she basically looks at Alex and is like, man, we got to be on the lookout. it could be anybody. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's Alex then.
I'll admit, and I'm probably in a minority with this. It's like I still didn't see it coming until like the actual moment where the reveal was coming out, and I think that was just maybe because I didn't pay attention to the credits, or it was just I was still down the Buscemi rabbit hole or whatever. It was just I wasn't actively thinking about it, and I think the reason why was really the same reason that was kind of explained during the episode, is that Alex could actually lie to Charlie and get away with it. And
Hmm.
I was still of the mindset that, okay, nobody can lie to Charlie. This is Charlie's
Hmm.
superpower. And it's because I had known that Alex had said very specific things to her that she would have had to have been called out for. I was just like, okay. So these two really are friends. It's fine. I didn't necessarily think they were going to be like BFFs forever and that Alex is going to be around all of season 3, but I didn't anticipate this until right about to when we got to the moment, like maybe a couple of minutes before. I was just like, okay, all right, now I'm the last person watching this
I
show who
don't think
sees that.
that's
It
true.
could be, but that's okay. I'm fine to be surprised. I think it's a good credit
Yes.
to them that they were able to sort of trick me in the way that they were, even if I'm annoyed there was no Steve.
Okay, you guys let us know, at what point did you figure out that it was Alex? Let us know in the comments. I'm also really curious to know from you guys and from you
Mhm.
how everybody is feeling about the idea that Charlie can be hoodwinked, that this is something that can happen to her. Because even her explanation, where she's like, oh, let's try this again now that I'm actually looking for the lies, try to make it that I can't figure out what the lie is. And I was just like, but that's not what it's been this whole time.
Yeah.
You're not typically looking for lies. You can just pick up on lies.
I enjoyed it. And I
Hmm.
think I enjoyed it because it's just this idea that it creates a vulnerability for Charlie that hasn't been there before. There's this fear that, okay, can Alex then tell other people to do this? How to do it? Is there a chance that more people could fool her? And I think the idea that Charlie, on the other side of it, is trying to grasp at straws a little bit because she's obviously not used to this. It's not like she's out there actively training this power or anything. So the moment it doesn't work, she's just kind of like, what's going on here? Is it something that's wrong with me? It's an interesting sort of idea. I don't want them to go too crazy with it. I kind of just want it to be Alex is the one person and perhaps the only person who can do this. This doesn't need to be Heroes, where at the end of whatever season it was, every single person has superpowers and then nobody has superpowers.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, we have seen other people this season try to lie to her, like Guy and that whole episode with the con, and
Yeah.
he was unable to do it. Like, it wasn't really working. Like, there was little moments I was like, maybe someone's getting through with that, but it just isn't happening. But as we were getting through to the end of the season, Charlie was less and less wanting to get involved in these cases. Like, by the time they got to the gym, she was just like, this isn't my problem. I don't want to have any more problems. I need to step out of the problems now. I don't want to be involved. And with that, I was wondering if maybe that's why she was starting to get to the point that she was just not looking for the lies anymore.
I think that's probably a part of it. I think she wasn't really looking for the lie. She didn't want to be a part of this, and she just ran into somebody else who was extremely good at hiding it. So it was just a perfect storm of a couple of different things that are kind of coming together. And I'll also say this for me, as someone who is looking for big bads, just like, Charlie, intentionally or not, looks for lies. I think
Mhm.
how they were also able to hoodwink me is that Patty Harrison's the person who's playing Alex. I'm not that familiar with her, and I wonder,
Oh.
was this a case where they intentionally cast, I'm not saying like a D-lister or anything, but like somebody who is less well known for this role?
Mhm.
Because I think we automatically would assume that if you're going to put a Moriarty, and there's even a Moriarty reference in this episode,
Mhm.
you kind of expect it to be a Buscemi. You expect
Yes.
it to be some sort of huge name. So having it be a smaller name person, I maybe that's just another part of the game, right?
Absolutely. This is a show of guest stars, big guest stars. So you're going to have a Steve Buscemi, Justin Theroux. You're going to have all these big names at the end. And then it's all of a sudden going to be like, no, there's no Steve Buscemi. No, it's not Justin. He's the second best assassin that's out here. He's not the number one.
Okay, the second time I got led astray and bamboozled in this finale, the car going over the cliff, where I saw the to be continued, like with the opening credits. I was not paying attention to how long the episode was at that point. I was just like, man, that really blew by. I guess that's it. I guess I'm gonna stop this video and just go and prepare my notes for our recording. And it was like 2 seconds later, something is going on here. I actually wonder, and you guys can let us know this in the comments too. Did you actually think that was the end and stop watching for a couple of minutes?
I thought it was the end. I
I
absolutely
did.
did. It felt like it was one of those like old-timey serials that used to play at the theaters where each week you would go and sort of get an episode where it's like, oh, they're going over the cliff. It kind of reminds me of Misery. This is an old
Oh,
pull,
I
but
get it.
Kathy Bates' character was upset about this exact thing that she was like, oh, it's like those old serials. You go and you pay your money and you get to see it and they're going over the cliff and it's on fire and you're just like, there's no way that they got out of that car. And you bet I came back that next week with my money ready to go, and he rolled out the door out the side, and she was super pissed about it. And as I was seeing that car going over the cliff, I'm like, is that what's happening here? We're going to come back next season and she's going to be rolling out of the car. I'm glad they didn't make us wait until next season for it.
Okay, yeah, I'm really glad they didn't end it that way too, just because who would have thought that Charlie was going to be dead? It's like this is a very, very popular show.
Mhm.
It's certainly going to be a lot more of this down the road. It just feels like there was no reason to do that. And I think they knew that. I think the thing that's most interesting to me is that you get like a tiny glimpse of the wreckage of the car near the end of all of this. And I don't see Alex in there either. I'm just sort of saying that.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like going over the cliff, I think we all would have been like, well, of course she's going to get out of this. Of course, if there's going to be a season 3, you can't have it without Charlie. So there's only one real option, which is that she rolled out the door, which is
Yeah.
exactly what happened. So I'm really glad that that wasn't the ending because it felt very obvious then going into the next season, she was going to be alive. They're not going to kill her off.
No.
But how they decided to end it with, of course, she's back on the run again.
Yeah.
We're back to this again. However, she's got 2 people now that are chasing after her. We
Yeah.
have Luca, who's just like, listen, man, you helped this killer. You got Beatrix killed. You led her to, this protection house that we had for her. You are definitely wanted by the FBI now. And while you and I are friends and you've helped me out and I've helped you out, I will let you go this time. But the next time I see you, I have no choice. I am going to have to arrest you, but I really don't want to do that right now. So just take my jacket and go. And I mean, even that scene with her being like, man, we did really well for 2 people that are under 5'5". And he's like, actually, I'm 5'7". Did anybody else look that up and see that Simon is actually 5'7"? It was so funny. He's so funny.
I think the reason that joke was so brilliant is that I didn't look it up, but I could have assumed that he was 5'5", because another thing is like, if you've watched The Big Bang Theory, he plays Howard like Howard has the worst posture of all time. He looks like he's like 5'2" on that show. So it's just like I totally would have been in that same place. I'm glad that Simon is kind of a good recurring person on this show.
Great.
Like, this is also why I think that they cast Patty to be Alex in this situations, because they knew that they weren't going to kill her, right? And it's just like, you want to bring somebody back. You also want to bring somebody back who you think you might be able to get. And I don't want to speak for Simon here, but I don't know if Simon's really that interested in doing like another 22 episode show when he's still swimming in Howard Wolowitz money. He may just be happy to come on and do like 3 or 4 episodes of Poker Face, and then that's kind of it.
Absolutely. So now we have Charlie, who is on the run, and she's got 2 different forces after her. She's got the entire FBI is after her, which is one huge group of people. And then you have the number one assassin, which is actually John Wick. We've gone over this already. She is the number
Still
two.
doing this.
She is the number two assassin now that Justin Theroux is also gone off the show. That is after her. That is, this master of disguise that is able to, get to Charlie in all different kinds of ways. She doesn't have like the element of surprise like she did before, where she could actually be friends with her, but we saw some of the ways that Alex was able to get to her marks. Like, she's like, oh yeah, there was this one person, I walked 30 miles in the snow to get to their underground bunker, and she's like hanging in the ceiling. It was so well done, and she really is someone who is scary. So the idea that you have her hunting Charlie, as well as the FBI is hunting Charlie, where does Charlie hide?
I don't know if there's really anywhere she can, and she's not that well equipped at this either. Like, she's not a master of disguise. It's like none of these things. I think
And now she has some random dog with her too. I don't know why that was thrown in at the end.
this better be a nicer dog with better preferences on the radio than the one we saw in season 1.
Yeah.
I'll at least say that much. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the dog. I just feel like season 3, they're kind of just like, we'll find a way to make it work, that she can hide while still going the various places. They are as disinterested in changing their format, I feel, as any show that is out there. Like, yeah, we're gonna see Alex again, presumably, and all this stuff is gonna come back, but I don't think we're gonna change all that much when it comes to the procedural nature, right? It's like some of our favorite episodes this season have been these kind of just isolated cases where we get to go in and see some really fun characters.
Absolutely. I have no problem with her being on the run every single season that they have with this show. It's a great way to get her moving from place to place, because that's not really the purpose of the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have made it a little more serialized at the end of this, because we have had Alex for multiple episodes now, and now we're in this spot where they have a pretty interesting tight relationship. So I don't know how much we're going to see Alex next season, but I feel like it's going to be a decent amount.
Yeah.
But having two different groups of people after her is going to really keep her on her toes. I will say, I truly believe that Steve Buscemi, Good Buddy, should have been the person to pick her up for next season, because we're in this spot here where she is on the run from the number 2 assassin in the world. Yes, John Wick.
Okay.
The number 2 assassin in the world, Alex, as well as the entire FBI. And
Yeah.
she's just getting in a truck with Wichita guy. I'm like, well, they're going to find you there, right?
Yeah.
It feels like she needs a good buddy to help her.
I do think we will see him in season 3. Like, I don't know when. I would be shocked if we do not. I think we will see him at some point. We'll get some other great guest stars kind of woven in there too. But I think in general, I'm coming out of season 2 feeling really, really happy. Like, we had 12 episodes. I would say 5 or 6 of them fall into the like truly excellent, like outstanding television. 3 of them pretty good. I think there's only 3 of them that I would say were kind of meh, but there weren't really any duds. There's no disasters this season where it's just like, I hated watching this or anything.
No, I didn't hate watching any of them. I mean, I would never go back and watch that Gator Done episode again, or even the Con episode, which has 2 actors that I absolutely love in it. Like, this was a really solid season all the way through. I will say, yes, I am very disappointed that they led me along with the Steve Buscemi and gave me nothing. I write at dawn.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to join you writing at dawn, because I am equally disappointed in that. But okay. Let us know what you thought about this finale, what you think about the setup for season 3. And just for fun, tell us, who is your dream guest star moving into the next season of Poker Face? That will be a very, very fun thing to read.
David Desmalchin. He might be too big.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to sit here and be like Goggins, but I know Goggins is doing like 200 different things, so I don't know where he's going to have the time. But thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate that. Also, thank you to everyone who is supporting us on Patreon. That link is in the description. We are covering their exclusively Countdown on Prime Video, starring Jensen Ackles. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
We'll see you here next time.